I know we're thinking way back, but
Yes.
I want to know first how you came to think you needed our help back in 2009. So when you started with us.
Well, my mom was diagnosed with dementia, and we knew that she couldn't live with us anymore, and we were looking to get a little help getting her on Medicaid. And you were recommended by one of her best friends because you did her best friend's sister's Medicaid, and so she recommended you. And it's funny you said that. You're actually the only person we ever went to.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
I don't know if that's good or bad. You could have
No,
compared, but I'm
I
glad.
think it's absolutely great because I didn't have to worry. Oh, well, this one and this one and this one and this one. You know, who do I go? It was so easy. You made it so easy.
And it's not an easy task, is it?
It's not. It is not an easy task. I remember those yearly recertifications, and you have to send all that paperwork back in. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Oh, and I was always thinking, what if it doesn't go through? What if she gets denied? What if she gets denied? And thank the good Lord, y'all always got to push through. So I'm so thankful for that.
Me too. Me too. And that's our plan. We can never make a promise as attorneys, but that's our plan. And okay, so with going for the Medicaid, okay, you knew that you wanted to protect some assets and get your mom on Medicaid. And if I remember, mostly so that you could continue to take good care of her. Were we able to accomplish your goal?
Yes, you were. You outlined a plan and knocked the lines off one by one, and I was able to. We were able to protect her assets and get her on Medicaid, and to where I did not have to worry about, oh gosh, I can't keep her at home anymore. She had got to where she would get up and walk out the door. So it wasn't something that I could do anymore. I had to get help with it.
I'm remembering what I asked you before. One of the things I wonder is, what's your role in your family? Were you the go-to person? What was your role as mom's person?
Yes, I was mom's healthcare surrogate. I was her power of attorney. I was the go-to person to make all the healthcare decisions and the power of attorney to make all the other decisions for her, because I did not work and my brother and sister at the time did. And then he got sick and got cancer. And so it was just left up to me because my sister worked full time. So, and I was lucky I didn't have to work at the time. So I was able to put my full effort into taking care of my mom.
There's a part of me that thinks, Kim, that it's not just about that you were the stay-at-home mom. I think you were the go-to girl for your family.
I was.
Yeah, I've heard you take care of your family through the years.
I was that for my dad also. And everybody was, I had taken care of him. I moved out of my house, out of our home, and moved into my mom and dad's house in 2004. And I moved back there to take care of my dad. And my son and husband would come over every day and see me, but I took care of both of them for 2 years prior to him passing away. And then I was the one that did everything for him. And then mom started showing signs of dementia, and she absolutely was petrified of the dark and then being alone. So then she moved in with me, and I was it. I was her person.
I hear you. You are quite a distance from us.
Mm-hmm.
So you live a good about an hour and a half drive away.
Yep.
Did you have to keep coming here, or were you able to do most everything over the phone?
No, actually, I think I only had to come to the office like a handful of times, like maybe 5 times at the most. Everything else we were able to accomplish over the telephone. And once you got that initial plan into place and we checked off the boxes and delivered the paperwork to you, we were able to do everything else over the telephone for the most part.
Were we available to you over the telephone?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Anytime I called, I was always helped right away, or you got back to me within 24 hours. I never had to wait for an answer.
Did that kind of make you feel like we were part of your team?
Yes, it may, and actually it made me feel like, hey, this person's looking out for my mother and me, and I can count on them, which is something that I did not have prior. So, not going into details, but I felt like I could trust you and talk to you and just vent. And I would call and you would just listen to me. And you don't know how good that made me feel. I was able to express what I needed done, and you would be able to advise me in which way to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, now I'm trying to just roll through them. I feel terrible. So we got you on I shouldn't say you. We got your mom on Medicaid. We were able to protect what assets she had, and we give everybody the opportunity at the end of that, getting someone on Medicaid, to do client care, to continue with us. You opted to continue with us. Was it worth your while?
Absolutely. 100%. Because I knew that you would take care of everything. You would tell me what you needed. I would get it to your office, and then you would take care of everything. You knew what to look for, what forms to file, things like that, and terminology and things like that. I had no clue about. So
Awesome.
it was absolutely worth continuing with you.
There was a point while your mom was on Medicaid, and so after she got approved, that didn't you sell her house?
Yes, we did. About a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So it's been a while, but yes, we did sell her. No, I'm sorry, it's 2 years ago. We did sell her house, and you were able to help me with that process also.
And did she lose her Medicaid?
No, absolutely not. You protected everything perfectly.
Okay. I know I asked this before. So your mom's best friend referred you to us. You
Yes.
had first meeting. Why did you decide to go with us?
Because you laid out a plan and had it. This is what we're going to do, and you just checked off the boxes one by one, and it was just so easy and so effortless with you. I didn't have to worry about anything. And you came in with a plan and you were ready to go. And it was like, oh, well, here they can do the majority. I'm going to say the majority of the work that I have no clue what I'm doing. So she knows what she's doing. She knows what to look for. Let's go with her. And you are just so kind and so welcoming to all of us. And it just made us feel like, wow, she really cares about our mom and protecting her and her assets, and she cares about us too.
That's awesome. How do you feel about our staff here?
I've gone through several receptionists with you.
I know.
They've all been awesome. I went through was it Kathy before, and then there was Barb, and then of course Stacy, whom I love dearly. Never met her, but we have talked so much over the telephone.
That's right. Because if I'm not available, I know my staff is really good at listening too.
They are. Stacy was always there for me. You have a top-notch girl there.
I want to ask you while you're talking about this, because with what we're doing, is there anything you think we should do to improve?
Not really. I mean, you were always, I call it Johnny on the spot. When I called you, you would say, okay, this is what we need to do. We checked it off. We did it. It was taken care of. I think you were great the way you were. I always got my answers fast. You were always easy to get a hold of. And if you didn't, if you weren't easy to get a hold of, then your secretaries would find out the answer for me and get back to me.
Awesome. Awesome. That's what we like to hear. How likely are you to recommend us to somebody else?
Oh, well, I have recommended you like about 50 times already. So I am very likely to recommend you. Whether or not they come to you or not, I don't know, but I've recommended you a lot.
I really appreciate it. I hope you know that, Kim. And usually if people tell us, we send you a thank you note, just so you know, but we don't always get that information.
Right. And I understand that.
Yeah.
I don't think that maybe we did tell you when we had our first meeting set up that her friend recommended you to us, but I don't think we went into detail who it was. So it was, I understand that that's probably not the first thing that's on people's minds. So well, I'm gonna tell you that, we're worried about other things. So yeah, that's fine.
Great. And a lot of times people are afraid to share that early on. They once they're safe with us and comfortable, they're happy to share it, but they don't always share up front. And that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with privacy too.
Right. Yeah, it's so there are a couple of things you said before that I'm like, oh, I wish I had that recorded before we lost it. But I know that you went through in those years, because you were for your mom, you were on client care for close to 10 years or more.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah, more than 10 years. And I know during those years you went through some things that were really difficult.
I did.
Go ahead.
I am things like the nursing home not doing what they were supposed to do. They didn't take care of her the way that she was supposed to be taken care of, and you advocated for her, and you told me what to do and who to contact to get things taken care of, and it made things so much easier. One instance is she had been having chest pains, and we had went up there to see her, and we told the staff she's having chest pain, she's not feeling well, and they proceeded to give her medication without checking her vitals, and then proceeded not to call 911 when needed. And so I had to threaten them with, I'm calling my attorney, and then I'm calling 911 myself. And by the time that 911 finally got there, they got her loaded up into the ambulance, and she was coherent. It wasn't 5 minutes. They were selling her in the ambulance, and the guy comes running back and said, "We've got to go. She's bottomed her blood pressure out from what they did, and didn't check her vitals, and she almost didn't make it."
That's sad.
And then you told me how to remove her from that situation and get her into what I thought was a better situation at the time. So
yeah, the nursing, there are no wonderful, perfect answers with that.
I thought the place that I took her was the best place for her at the time. I actually had a friend who worked there. So when it came to us getting her into the long-term part of it, y'all are instrumental in getting the paperwork and all the information faxed over to them. And then my friend just happened to say, my friend's mother is here and they had an opening. They said, and they called me and said, do you want it? And I said, well, absolutely. And that was one thing that I was always worried about, was after the rehab initial part of it was, I'm going to have to take her out and put her somewhere else. And I was so fortunate that y'all were Johnny on the spot. You got him all the paperwork and everything. I didn't have to do that.
Awesome. Awesome. If you were to recommend somebody, do you think that we're good at working with people long distance?
Yes. Yes, I do. I never had to want for anything. I never had to wait long for an answer. I mean, you, just because you were over the phone and we were not in person, you didn't let that affect the work that you did and the answers that I was searching for, I needed. You were always able to recommend which direction for me to go. And yes, I think you're great at doing that.
I appreciate it. I really do. Anything else you want to tell us?
Just that, I think that there was a time when I had thought about not re-upping with you. And you said, we'll do what you want. And you talked to me because I had some questions to ask, and you laid out and said, this is what you need to do if you want to stay with us, or this is what we need to do if you're not going to stay with us. And then I got to thinking, don't be dumb and not do this, because April does everything. She knows how to do it. You don't have the answers, she does. And that you just made it so easy.
So did you feel like if we were going to let you go, we were good and kind about it, respectful?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And the thing about you, April, is I will tell you, you worked with me on staying. I mean, I didn't think I had I'll say the funds at the time to continue the client care, and you just worked with me, and we got caught up and didn't have problems from then on. But you were just so awesome working with you. It was just so effortlessly on my part. I mean, I really didn't have to worry about anything. If there was an issue, I would just call you. And if you couldn't, talk to me right then, you always got back with me within the 24 hours and would say, this is what you need to do. And you just were so wonderful in advocating for my mom and keeping her assets safe.